cruel revenge on his wife for cheating with a friend. Reddit, cheating wife stories. While my wife Alana and I were dining at a high-end establishment, I became aware of the fact that my longest and closest friend was approaching our table. Immediately, I communicated this information to my wife, Terence Landis, who is on her way to this location. Keep in mind that I referred to him as my best buddy ever since we were in the 2nd grade. This is correct, however, you should exercise extreme caution when interacting with him. He has a strong attraction to females. Thank goodness, I should not be in danger. Alana responded in a low voice, "Isn't he that friend of yours who always seemed to be very wealthy?" As I stood up to shake Terry's hand, I gave my wife a nod and then stepped up. The bear-like hug that he gave me was powerful. The fact that you were in such a public environment made things a little uncomfortable, but Tim is damn thrilled to see you again. When was the last time that we got together and spent some time together? The statement was made by Terence as he slowly looked Alana over from head to toe, his gaze remaining on her beautiful breasts. Do you mind if I assume that this is your lovely wife? You, Alana, during the time that you married her, I was in Singapore, nevertheless, I did send a gift. Hopefully, you had a good time. That brand new pickup truck was sent to Tim by your friend, isn't that correct information? Alana exclaimed as she stood up and extended her arms to the person she wanted to embrace. You, Alana, this man is my closest companion. Terence, after he had drawn me aside in a manner that was both polite and firm, he proceeded to embrace Alana in his arms. Alana, who is now my wife, was introduced to Terence. It was never mentioned to her that he was so tall and gorgeous, despite the fact that I told her a lot about you. Alana swiftly brought to my attention the fact that you are in Daytona because you hugged Terence for a longer period of time than I believed was suitable for a married woman. I recently purchased a condominium in the Dunes, and I am currently giving it a facelift. I am currently staying in a room at a nearby hotel, and I just arrived here by myself for supper. The condominium that you purchased amid the dunes is now undergoing renovations. To put it simply, they are almost brand new. I am unable to conceive of anything that could be altered at that location. In response, Alana stated, I have heard that the price of the smallest ones begins at more than $1 million. It is correct, Terence acknowledged. On the other hand, their bedrooms are quite small, I get the impression that they are cramped. My good fortune led me to purchase a penthouse that was available at no cost. In addition to painting it, I will replace the furnishings. It was abundantly clear to me that Terence was exerting everything in his power to make a good impression on Alana. He was always able to figure out what a woman was interested in, and with that, he was able to immediately capture her primary interest. Alana was a girl who was really interested in business. It appeared as though Alana was going to send us to the poorhouse, despite the fact that I had a respectable wage and more than a few bucks put up. Even though we were spending our 3rd anniversary together, she seemed to pay more attention to Terence than she did to me. A few of the guests appeared to be looking in my direction with a clear expression of pity because it was so obvious. At this moment, it appears that the waiter is bringing our food. It is recommended that we take our seats and eat while the food is still hot, Alana. I reasoned, assuming that we might be able to direct our attention back to one another. Despite the fact that Alana did not challenge anything I said, she increased the stakes simply by looking at what we were betting on. Terence, you owe it to us to come along. When Tim talks about you, he always has such a positive attitude, and I wish I could get to know you more. It's true that my husband's best friend is also my friend. I despise being the one to interrupt a romantic dinner. Terence started while I nodded my head in agreement with his foolishness. It was instantly Alana who stepped in. During dinner, we will be joined by our waiter, Terence. You might be able to prepare the table for him. It is very much appreciated. Within a minute and a half, the waiter abruptly turned around and began searching for the item. While we were having a talk, Terence was sitting at our table and taking up everything. While he and Alana were talking about anything and everything, I was able to complete a game of solitaire on my phone and come out on top. Before I heard Alana address me, I paid little attention to what they were saying to one another. We have 2 rooms available for you, Tim. What are the chances of us asking Terence to stay with us? The 2 of you may continue to make up for the time that you have lost. Within the next week or so, Terence will have the chance to experience the pleasures of cooking at home because his flat will be done. Not in the least will this be considered imposition. The statement that Alana made left me speechless. Did she believe that Terran would enjoy the food that she prepared? I had no doubt that she would order extremely pricey takeout from very beautiful restaurants and then serve it on her finest china. I was positive that she would do this. Considering that I knew Terran as well as I did, I was very certain that he would be dining at the Y by the end of the week, with the exception that it would meet the expectations of any gourmet food enthusiast. My first wife, Helen, died after 22 years of marriage. He and Terence were great friends, but I never worried about them acting inappropriately. Helen was as reliable and devoted as a wife could be. Unfortunately, she died of a sudden heart attack 5 years ago. I grieved for over a year before I met Alana at a charity event. She was 11 years younger than me, but it didn't seem to matter to her. Soon, I proposed to her, and we were married for 3 years. This was Alana's second marriage. She divorced her first husband after she caught him cheating, or so she claimed. The only thing I wouldn't do is cheat on my wife, it just wasn't in me, and Alana knew it. It seemed like it didn't take much convincing on Alana's part to convince Terence to stay with us. Other than the significant amount of cleavage she showed as she leaned towards him to hang on his every word, naturally, Terence didn't have to get up early in the morning to go to work. This curse is for those of us who don't have millions of dollars in the bank. Alana has not had a job since she divorced her first husband. It appears that she handled her divorce fairly well. She made me sign a prenuptial agreement that stated that I would never claim her money no matter how long we were married. This was favorable for me because I had a stable income from my investments as well as a very good job. When I arrived home on Monday night, Alana and Terran appeared even friendlier than they had been at the restaurant the night before dinner was ready, and it was exceptionally delicious. I checked the trash can, as I had anticipated, and found that it contained containers from a local restaurant. I was fairly upset, but Terran and Alana were so engrossed in their own little world that they didn't even notice as I left the living room, climbed the stairs, and went to bed. Because they did not pay any attention to me, I did not experience any feelings of embarrassment. The fact that Alana was waiting for me when I arrived home on Wednesday evening came as a complete and utter surprise to me. It was a costly sofa that she merely kneed next to her, and she was seated on it. My judgment is that it was too close, particularly for someone who was a friend. Terran was a man named who she had just lately met. Tim, we need to have a conversation. It was On's first shot at the target. Once again, I was caught aback by the realization that it was only a Wednesday. I don't understand how Terence was able to perform his magic so swiftly. I had no doubt that he was capable of accomplishing anything he set his mind to, but this was truly remarkable. It is going to set me back further than a few dollars. Terran and I came to the realization that we shared a lot of similarities, and I was certain of it. Despite the fact that we had hoped that this would not occur, Alana explained that it did. Tim, despite the fact that we both feel bad about this situation, there is no concealing the fact that we have an extremely powerful connection to each other. Immediately when this is finalized, I will file for divorce from you. I am going to wed Terran. Do not make any attempt to dissuade me from doing this. Because you couldn't keep your legs together and that ass wiper couldn't keep his dick in his pants, I'll be damned if I give up my house and half of my money simply because you couldn't keep your legs together if you tried. Each and every one of the steps will be fought by me. I stated it with such a strong conviction that I just did not have any confidence in myself. This is very typical of a child struggling with feelings of insecurity. Alana expressed her disdain by stating, I did not marry you for money, and I do not want it when we divorce Terran. We are both of the opinion that the divorce process will proceed much more quickly if I simply leave with the money that I brought into the marriage. So, Tim, what are your thoughts? Would this be sufficient to get me a divorce in a short amount of time? When Alana asked, where do you want me to sign? She insisted. I attempted a small parry. I was aware that you placed a higher value on money than I did. During the time that we are waiting for the painting of Terran's flat, I will be spending the next few nights with him. Complaints are not something I want to hear about. No sobbing, complaining, or whining is allowed. Insisted Alana on it. I merely nodded, turned around, and ventured into the tavern that was closest to me. The speed with which a divorce can be processed through the legal system is quite remarkable, especially when all three parties involved are enthusiastic about the matter and one of them is rich. After a few months had passed, I found myself back in the position of being a single man. During the weekend that followed the finalization of my divorce, I returned to the same restaurant that I had visited with Alana when she had her first encounter with Terran. Where I found him, he was seated at a table for two. I simply entered the room and took his place. In this restaurant, would you like to kiss my feet, or would you rather wait till a more private setting is available? He inquired with a broad grin on his face. When I was not so calm. I don't understand how you can always be so joyful. If you had asked Alana to marry you, you would have been wrong. Currently, she is able to pursue. In the event that you have cheated on her, broken a contract outright, lied to her, or been such a jerk to her, this will not take place. As always, you responded with a level head. You are unable to perceive the bigger picture. You should enlighten me, why don't you? Aside from that, I am familiar with Alana, and she is nothing but an obstinate, vindictive, and nefarious little devil. When you asked her to marry you, you didn't have that feeling, did you? Consider this, what was the final straw that caused you to make the decision that you wanted to get rid of her? Terence asked with a chuckle. I don't know. Maybe it had something to do with the fact that her damn personal trainer had her 3 times a week. For some reason, it worked on my breaker, she held me by the throat. If I had filed for divorce, even for adultery, she would have gotten half of it plus spousal support. That's why I turned to you for help. I never thought that you would be able to get her to ask for a divorce by Wednesday. It was amazing, your line of must have improved even more over the years, I added. It has more to do with how my portfolio has improved over the years. Once she realized how much money I had, she was able to seduce me instantly. I have to say I will miss her. In the midst of the sheets, having sexual relations with your wife was one of the most memorable experiences of my life. There was a gleeful admission made by Terran that it was this unique ability of hers that drew me into this story. I responded in a serious manner, saying that you did an excellent job of liberating me from that money grubbing, but I was wondering why you no longer care about how she will react to the fact that you left her without ever getting married. She is capable of understanding the entire plan. Despite the fact that she is smart, she is smart. Keep in mind that I mentioned the large picture that Terran requested as a gift for their engagement. I gave Alana a weekend at the Ritz with a spa day included. You're an idiot. I spat at him. Didn't I tell you that Alana's stud, the personal trainer, is now a massage therapist at the Ritz? She could have bumped into him. What are you saying? I ordered it for her when I was designing the spa, Terran admitted. Last night, I decided to visit her just to see how pleased she was with my gift. Since I paid for the room, I had a key. Luckily, my phone was preset for video. No wonder I found her extremely happy with my gift. Was she with him? Do you have a video? Did she cheat on you? I dealt with it by slowly getting my thoughts in order. You must have been very upset, perhaps angry enough to break off the engagement. Alana was devastated by my unforgiving attitude, Terran replied with a grin. It was the first time she did something like that. This will never happen again. I agreed with her on this. This won't happen to me right now. She's out shopping, returning my gifts, at least in between sobs and curses. You owe me dinner for making her say on Wednesday that she wants a divorce, Terran added with a wide smile. You saved me a fortune, bro? I'll be happy to treat you to dinner. You have always been by my side. Alana has no idea about relationships, but you know what true friendship is. Subscribing to our channel is something you should do if you want to make certain that your second chaff does not cheat on you. You should also make it a point to listen to the story that follows after this one, since the one that comes after it is very different from the one that you are currently listening to. Should you be younger than 18 years old, you should not even contemplate listening to the one that is about to be presented to you.